If you're thinking about retiring, you should probably retire. Those are the ice-cold words of UFC President Dana White, aimed directly at one of the most beloved, action-packed fighters on the entire roster. This isn't just some negotiation tactic. It's a line drawn in the sand. A high-stakes game of chicken has just kicked off between Justin Gaethje and the UFC, and someone is about to swerve. The fallout could end a legendary career and throw the entire lightweight division into absolute chaos. So why is this such a big deal? Because we're not talking about just another fighter. We're talking about Justin Gaethje. The highlight? This is a man whose entire career has been a monument to violence, courage, and a borderline inhuman ability to both give and take damage. He came into MMA as a Division I All-American wrestler, a toolset that could have let him dominate on the ground. You'd think he'd lean on that, right? Nope. He basically decided to ignore it, choosing instead to stand right in the pocket and swing for the fences. His early UFC run was pure, unadulterated chaos. One bonus-winning war after another that made him an instant fan favorite but also had everyone wondering, how long can a human being fight like this? This is the man who walked through fire against Michael Johnson, who gave us unforgettable brawls with Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier, and who captured the interim lightweight title by completely dismantling Tony Ferguson. He even got his crowning BMF moment when he knocked out Dustin Poirier with a spectacular head kick to win the one belt that seemed made for him. By every single metric, Gaethje is the exact kind of fighter Dana White always says he wants. A warrior always ready for a firefight, but the path of a warrior is never a straight line. Gaethje has fought for the undisputed lightweight title twice, and twice he's come up short, losing to the legendary Khabib Nurmagomedov and the submission ace Charles Oliveira. Still, he kept clawing his way back. He ground out a tough win over the dangerous Rafael Fiziev in early 2023, a victory he thought should have kept him right at the front of the line. And then came UFC 300. Gaethje says the UFC begged him to put his BMF title on the line against Max Holloway. It was a fight purely for the fans, a guaranteed showstopper. And boy, did it deliver. It gave us one of the most iconic moments in UFC history. A last-second double knockout shot that left Gaethje unconscious on the canvas with only 1 second left in a 5-round war. He got a fat bonus check, but the loss was a devastating blow to his title hopes. You could feel the frustration building. Gaethje felt he'd done the company a favor and was owed a shot at the belt. So he finally laid down an ultimatum through his manager. Give me a title shot or I'll hang up the gloves for good. Issuing an ultimatum is a dangerous game in any business, but it's especially risky in the UFC, an organization run by a man who refuses to be backed into a corner. So at the UFC 317 post-fight press conference, when a reporter asked Dana White about Gaethje's demand, his response was swift, brutal, and completely on brand. Listen, everybody has their opinions, White started before delivering the knockout blow. If you're thinking about retiring, you know how I feel about that. You should probably retire. We love Justin Gaethje. But to say, unless you give me a title shot, I'm retiring, that's pretty wacky. Let's break that down. The message here is layered, but the core of it is crystal clear. The first part, we love Justin Gaethje, is that classic promoter talk, just softening the blow for what's coming next. But calling the demand wacky, that's a complete dismissal of any leverage Gaethje thought he had. In Dana's world, threatening to retire isn't a bargaining chip, it's a sign of weakness. It tells him a fighter doesn't have that singular focus you need to compete at the very top. And this isn't new. Dana has a long history of calling fighters bluffs. He sees the fight game as a shark tank. You are either all in or you are out. The second a fighter even whispers the R-word, Dana often sees it as his cue to show them the door. Gaethje's ultimatum, born out of frustration, had backfired in the most public way possible. He didn't just get a no, he got a dare. And while this Cold War was playing out, the event that sparked it all, UFC 317, was giving us a totally different kind of story. While Gaethje was on the sidelines, a new force was taking over the lightweight division. Ilia Topuria, the undefeated phenom who moved up from featherweight, faced off against the former champ Charles Oliveira for the vacant 155-pound belt. Topuria delivered, scoring a stunning first-round knockout to become the new lightweight champion. It was a coronation, but the most memorable moment came after the fight. In the middle of all the championship chaos, Topuria's young son, Hugo, stepped into the octagon. The kid had been a mini-celebrity all fight week, charming everyone while hitting pads with his dad. But now, in the moment his father achieved his dream, he wasn't starstruck. He had notes. As Topuria told the media later, his son's first words to him were a critique. "Do you know the first thing he told me when I came out of the octagon? He said, 'Why you connect the right punch like this? And you didn't did the uppercut?' I'm like, 'Oh, okay, next time we will try it.'" The moment was just pure hilarious and so human. It's this perfect contrast to the brutal business happening with Gaethje, isn't it? On one hand, you've got a veteran fighter locked in a power struggle with his boss, his career hanging in the balance. And on the other, a new champion is being brought right back to earth by the innocent coaching of his own kid. It just highlights the two worlds of the UFC, the unforgiving Game of Thrones, and the personal, family-driven reasons these guys fight in the first place. This whole situation is a total pressure cooker, which really begs the question, who do you think is right here? Is Dana White's tough love approach the only way to run the show, or does a veteran like Justin Gaethje deserve more respect for what he's done? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And hey, if you're enjoying this deep dive into all the UFC chaos, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a breakdown. But Dana's dismissal of Gaethje wasn't just about his personal philosophy, it was a cold, hard business decision. Why? Because the 155-pound division is an absolute shark tank and it waits for no one. With Ilia Topuria as the new champ, a line of contenders is already forming. The first name on everyone's list is Arman Tsarukyan. He's the #1 ranked guy and was the official backup for the UFC 317 main event. He's already been trading shots with Gaethje online, basically telling him to enjoy your retirement. From the UFC's point of view, a fight between the new champ and the clear #1 contender just makes sense. And then you have the Paddy the Baddy Pimblett factor. After Topuria won, he and Paddy had a heated face-off in the octagon. Whether it was real or staged, it created an instant storyline. Even though Dana didn't look thrilled about it, that moment shoved Pimblett's name into the title conversation purely because it would sell. So where does that leave Justin Gaethje? He's ranked #3, but the ground is shifting under his feet. That epic knockout from Holloway, it was still a loss. And his win before that was against Rafael Fiziev, who wasn't even in the top 5 at the time. When you look at it on paper, his claim for a title shot right now is shaky compared to Tsarukyan's. Gaethje is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Does he stand his ground and actually retire, walking away from millions of dollars and the sport he's dedicated his life to? Or does he back down, swallow his pride, and take another fight to prove he deserves the shot he feels he's already earned? Any fight in this division is a massive risk. One more loss and his title dreams are almost certainly gone for good. The standoff between Dana White and Justin Gaethje is more than just a contract dispute. It's a window right into the soul of the UFC. It's the ultimate collision between a fighter's pride and a promoter's power. Gaethje, the human highlight reel who has consistently put his body on the line for our entertainment, feels he's earned the right to make a demand. Dana White, the man who built the empire, believes the moment you have to demand a title shot is the moment you've already lost. Gaethje is now facing a choice that will define the last chapter of his career. Does he bet on himself one more time, or does he cash in his chips and walk? The UFC machine, with its new champions like Ilia Topuria and hungry contenders like Arman Tsarukyan, will keep rolling on no matter what. But for one of the most exciting fighters to ever step in that cage, the future has never been more uncertain. His legacy as a warrior is sealed, but his final act has yet to be written. And the whole world is watching to see if he'll fold or if he'll call Dana White's dare. What do you think he should do?